Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Vetri Utu, and on this channel I share videos on cakes, food and food business. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Turn on your notification button so that when I post new videos like this one you're watching, you'll be informed. I wish to say thank you to everyone that's reached out to me concerning the NAFDAC videos I created. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for your kind comments. And in this video, I'll be answering some frequently asked questions about NAFDAC registration process. And the first question I would answer is, what is NAFDAC? NAFDAC is the acronym for National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. NAFDAC is a Nigerian agency responsible for controlling and regulating the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sale of food, drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, packaged water, and chemicals. What products require NAFDAC registration? The products that require NAFDAC registration are food, drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, packaged water, and chemicals. What are the requirements for the NAFDAC registration process? The requirements vary depending on the product you're actually trying to register. However, some general requirements include submission of an application form, documentation. I have done videos on all the documents that you need or you require for an NAFDAC registration process. The link to the playlist is in the description box below. Also, if you want to have access to all the documents that you need for the NAFDAC registration process, it's over 40 pages. I also have the link in the description box below. In order not to lengthen this video, just go to the NAFDAC playlist link in the description box below. You'll see all the videos I've created concerning your documentation. Okay, so the basic requirements you need is submission of an application form, documentation. There will be a need for site inspection for them to come and inspect your site. Okay, your product sample and your production site will also be verified by NAFDAC. So these are basic requirements you would need for a NAFDAC registration process. I also did a video explaining the entire NAFDAC registration process from A to Z. You can actually close your eyes and follow the process. I've dedicated a playlist for all the NAFDAC videos I've created. Watch all those videos and you'll be good to go. You'll understand the entire process. But these things I just mentioned are the basic requirements that you need for your NAFDAC registration process. How long does the NAFDAC registration process take? I've gotten this question a lot. I've had people ask this question a lot. It actually varies. When I visited NAFDAC, usually they will tell you 60 days to 90 days to 100. It won't exceed 120 days, but it depends on the product you are registering, the kind of product you're registering, and also the complexity of the process. It just depends. There are also other factors that can affect your NAFDAC registration process. My own took 2 years, and it was because I registered during the COVID pandemic. So a lot of factors played out to prolong the entire NAFDAC registration process. You do an online registration and then go to the NAFDAC in charge of your location to also submit some documents. That year, 2020, some of us that did the online registration we experienced some delay, and the COVID even worsened issues. Also, part of the things that caused my own delay was going back and forth in making some corrections in my documents. So I've made it easier for you. Don't have to go back and forth. I've actually created a template for all the documents you require, over 40 pages for your NAFDAC registration process. So these were the things that delayed mine, that made it last for 2 years. But usually maximum should be about 120 days, except there's any challenge or maybe you don't meet up with the requirements. So if they verify your product and they verify your production space and it's okay, they will verify all your documents and make sure it's okay, make some corrections. They also verify the product to see if it meets their requirement and if it's safe for human consumption. Then they would also check your production space to be sure it meets the NAFDAC standard. If all these things are in place, then they would issue you your NAFDAC registration number. So everything varies depending on your location, depending on your product, and also the process, and also the process of waiting to correct all your documents and all that. But maximum should be 120 days, although mine took longer time than that. What are the fees for NAFDAC registration process? I also have people asking that question. Actually, the fees vary, but generally you pay the registration fee. But when I registered, there was a waiver, so the entire cost then, I don't even think it was up to 20,000 I paid for that product. That's for the NAFDAC registration fee itself. The NAFDAC registration fee itself is not expensive, so don't be scared. The major thing that costs some good money is the production space, because there are requirements for the production space. You don't just use one room. No, I also did a detailed video on what you require in your production space. Your production space would have at least 4 compartments. So either you are going to use a long hall or a long room and then divide it into sections, or you already get a sectioned place. You have your clocking room, and your clocking room is basically where the staff change and all, or maybe staff relaxation also. Then you have the production room, a section dedicated only to production. You would have another section dedicated to finished goods, and then another section dedicated to packaging. Okay, and in your production room there will be a small section where you store production materials. You just cut out a section where you would store the production materials, while also in the packaging section you would also have a little section inside the packaging room where you store your packaging materials. Then the finished goods section where you store your finished goods, maybe in cartons. And there are basic requirements. I've done a detailed video. Just go to the NAFDAC registration playlist on my channel and you would see everything you need to know. It's not expensive. I don't know what it is right now, but when I registered, there was a waiver by Professor Sibanjo and the DG of NAFDAC. Then that was 2020. They wanted to encourage a lot of small and growing businesses, right, to be able to register their products with NAFDAC. So I jumped in when I heard about that offer. There are other things you would need to get ready, like your product packaging. You would also need to spend money on that. Printing, you get a graphic designer to do your product label. Then you get your packaging, and of course the raw materials, some raw materials that you use to produce the first batch of products that you'll be giving to NAFDAC. So those are some things that you'd also be spending money on. One can't really tell you the entire cost of what the NAFDAC registration process will cost, because the cost varies with the product, with your location, with how much you'll spend in acquiring your production space, how much you'll spend in the kind of products you intend to make, or the kind of products you have. So but generally you would make the payment, the application fee online. Then you would go to the NAFDAC office in charge of your location to submit all the documents. Then they'll make some corrections in your documents, which you would also have to spend money, like reprinting some of those documents. Then you'll be scheduled for inspection visits, and on the day of inspection I had to go down to the NAFDAC office to bring the officials. They actually came with their car. Then of course you also set aside some money that you give to them on that day. They will come, maybe a little refreshment, and then maybe money for their transport to go back. So these are all the expenses you'll be making through the NAFDAC registration process. But the major expenses is in trying to prepare your production space. That's where you spend more. So another expenses you'll be making is, of course, preparation of the documents. My documents were about 40 pages because the SOPs alone was about 31 pages. Then there are other documents that I had to prepare. So you would, of course, the ones that needs to be typed will be typed, and then they have to be printed. And after printing, you have to photocopy, because each document you will submit 2 copies of each document to NAFDAC. So that is another area where you also be spending some money. There are other things you need to do. For instance, the medical certificate, you have to pay for it, of course. The fumigation, you will get someone, a vendor that you will also pay to come and fumigate your premises. Usually fumigation is done and it should last about 90 days. So every 90 days someone has to come and fumigate your premises. If your fumigation certificate expires while NAFDAC is trying to review your documents, you have to do a fresh fumigation and then replace the the one you submitted, the fumigation certificate, you have to change it. Also, if your medical certificate expires during your NAFDAC registration process or before NAFDAC reviews your documents, then you have to do a fresh medical certificate. That was what happened during my own registration process. So those are the things that you have to spend money on. One can't really tell you all that you'll spend money on. So but as the day goes by, and depending on your product, depending on the process, even depending on the NAFDAC office, how they handle the entire process for you, that will also determine how much you'll be spending. Can I import products without the NAFDAC registration? It's illegal to import products that require NAFDAC registration. First, acquiring the NAFDAC registration number. I've listed some of the products that require NAFDAC registration. So if the product you want to import falls within that category, then you have to go through the NAFDAC registration process. Make sure you get your NAFDAC number before you import those products. Because what you do is to get a sample of those products first, then go for the NAFDAC registration, because you have to submit a sample of those products to them. They have to certify that that product is okay for use and human consumption before you can import it, because you may end up wasting money if those products that you import are not certified by NAFDAC or does not meet NAFDAC requirements. Another question is, can I sell products without NAFDAC registration? I have mentioned some of the products that require NAFDAC registration. So if the product you want to sell to the public is within that category, it's illegal to sell those products without NAFDAC registration number. So check the product, your food product, packaged water, the chemicals, cosmetics, medical devices. I've mentioned some of those products. You have to get another registration number first before releasing it to the public for sales. Registration application is rejected. If your NAFDAC registration application is rejected, NAFDAC will tell you why it was rejected. All you have to do is to make the corrections, then reapply or make the corrections and go back to NAFDAC. If they certify that everything is okay, then they'll issue you the NAFDAC registration number. Can I apply for NAFDAC registration online? Yes, I did a detailed video in my NAFDAC registration playlist about the entire NAFDAC registration process. I also showed you how you can apply online. Go to that playlist and watch those videos. You start your application online, then your payment is also done online, after which you carry all your documents to the NAFDAC office that is in charge of your location to submit. The next question, how do I check the status of my NAFDAC registration process? Actually, before you start your registration online, you have to create an account, and that account, you can log into that account. So when you start your NAFDAC registration process, the status, you can check the status on your registration portal, or you also go to the NAFDAC registration office in charge of the location to find out the status of your application. The next question is, can I use the same NAFDAC registration number for different products? I get this question often. A lot of people get to ask me this question. The answer is no. You will have a NAFDAC registration number for each product. In fact, down to the flavor. For instance, if you are trying to get a NAFDAC registration, for instance, for cake, and you have 3 flavors of that cake or 3 different types of that cake that also has different categories of ingredients, then you need 3 NAFDAC numbers for those 3 different products. You get the NAFDAC registration for the vanilla cake. If you want to make strawberry cake, because these products have different ingredients in them, then they need different NAFDAC registration numbers, because they will all have to pass through the test to be certified. So different products and different NAFDAC registration numbers. In fact, when your certificate will be issued to you, they will list the ingredients for that particular product in it. So each product has its own NAFDAC registration number. Can NAFDAC registration be revoked? Fails to meet the required standard, or if the manufacturer fails to meet the standard of NAFDAC, if they violate any of the regulations, NAFDAC number can be revoked. What is the penalty for selling products without NAFDAC registration number? Some of the penalties could include fine. It also could include seizure and destruction of those products, or even if in extreme cases, imprisonment. If you're producing goods that require NAFDAC registration number without that number, then go and apply for your NAFDAC registration number. This is to avoid some of these penalties. If this video was helpful to you, kindly like, share and comment. Subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification button so that when I post new videos like this, you'll be informed. Thank you for watching.